The Remington rifle shook in Tom Harlan's callous grip as he peered through the frost-covered window at the woman who'd warmed his bed for 9 stormy nights. Sarah Valdez stood knee-deep in the Montana drifts outside his remote cabin, her auburn curls tumbling over her exposed collarbone, olive skin shimmering under the melting flakes. In her slender hands, she clutched a faded tintype of the young outlaw Tom had gunned down 4 years back. "I rode here to end you, Tom Harlan," she murmured, her words fracturing like cracking river ice. But now, the gale whipped through the Bitterroot Mountains, laced with the bitter tang of powder and remorse. Tom's finger tightened on the trigger. This enigmatic, fiery woman had exploited his solitude, rekindled a spark in his 57-year-old soul long after he'd interred his emotions with the ghosts of his past. Yet Sarah's sobs rang true. The way her frame had quivered against his in the dark hadn't been a ruse. And now, 7 hardened riders thundered through the whiteout, hell-bent on slaughtering them both. What unfolds when passion turns lethal, when history exacts a toll from the heart? Tom had been chopping kindling when the nor'easter slammed into the Montana Territory that bitter January of 1892. 25 years as a U.S. Marshal, then a bounty hunter for Wells Fargo, had honed his instinct to spot trouble in the clouds or a stranger's eyes. Both could bury you quick. His shack perched 40 miles from Missoula, backed against jagged peaks that deflected the fiercest gusts. Tom had picked this exile after too many specters invaded his dreams. Out here, only his herd and regrets shared his fire. Hoofbeats pierced the tempest like a warning. She materialized from the haze, a figure slumped over a sorrel gelding's mane, her locks lashing wildly. The horse faltered, and she tumbled into the powder, still as death. Tom paused, his marshal's wariness kicking in hard. Stunning women like her often masked the sharpest traps. But her cheeks were ashen, breath shallow. She'd be gone in minutes without shelter. He hauled her indoors, her attire whispering secrets, a silk blouse under a man's duster, riding boots supple as kid leather. No ranch hand dressed like that, but her palms showed blisters from real toil riddles bundled in unconscious allure. Tom stoked the blaze, brewed coffee strong as tar. When he glanced back, hazel eyes met his, Irish flecks in a Latina face, guarded like a trapped coyote. "Where am I?" Her accent hinted at Arizona borderlands, melodic and husky. "My place." You almost froze solid. Tom stayed back, offering the mug like a truce flag. Their fingertips grazed, and even chilled to the bone, her spark jolted through his veins. "I'm Sarah." She sipped, and he noted the fine cut of her skirt worth a cowpoke's yearly wage. "Headed to Butte for a teaching job. My stagecoach wrecked in the pass." Lies flowed smooth for most, but Sarah's pause flagged it. Tom tucked it away. The blizzard locked them in for 4 days. Sarah pulled her weight, baking biscuits, patching gear, tending his sparse livestock. She glided with effortless poise, whether flipping flapjacks or forking hay. And when she figured he wasn't watching, Tom caught her gaze lingering on him with a heat that stirred his blood. "You've taken lives," she observed on the 4th evening, fire shadows dancing over the gash on his right temple. "Some. How many?" Tom weighed a fib. 19. Sarah inclined her head. "Any regrets?" "Every single one." The raw truth startled him. He seldom voiced it. She edged nearer on the rough-hewn bench, her arm brushing his. "What if they had it coming?" "Nobody earns a grave, miss. Sometimes it's just the way of things, even if they wrecked homes, orphaned kids." Her tone carried a wound sharper than a Montana winter. Tom pivoted, eyeing her silhouette. "Sounds like you've got skin in the game." Sarah's mouth set firm. "Everything's personal in these parts." That night, they mended the shed battered by winds, laboring shoulder to shoulder. Tom couldn't ignore the curve of her waist as she stretched, the line of her throat in the lamplight. 33 years her senior, scarred and sinful, had no right eyeing her. But when their stares locked over the flickering glow, he saw his own forbidden longing mirrored back, perilous as a loaded chamber. "Sarah," he breathed, and the way she said his name nearly undid him. "You ought to turn in. Storm might lift soon." Sarah held his gaze. "What if I hope it doesn't?" The query lingered like gun smoke. Tom wrenched away, but her palm seized his sleeve, searing through the wool. "I'm done with pretense." Up close, he mapped the amber specks in her eyes, the scatter of moles on her cheek. Her mouth parted. "You don't get what you're stirring." "I get it fine," she whispered. "Question is, are you too scared to claim it?" Tom Harlan had stared down Sioux raiders and train robbers, but Sarah Valdez unnerved him deeper than any bullet. The ninth night, she perched close enough for her knee to press his, her rosewater scent muddling his thoughts. "Tell me about her," Sarah urged, fingertips skimming his scar. "Who?" "The one who carved the snot the blade. The woman who made you fear loving." Tom captured her hand. "Stop." "Why? 'Cause I'm too fresh-faced? Too risky? Or 'cause you crave me too damn much?" Flames popped. Winds wailed through furs. He should have retreated, but her digits laced with his, soft against rough. "There was one, ages ago. She perished 'cause my enemies followed me home." "I'm not her." Tom scanned Sarah's features, a defiant jaw. How embers gilded her skin. "You're a whole other storm." Sarah leaned in, breath heating his ear. "What kind am I, Tom?" Words failed as her blouse hugged contours that yanked him back to youth. When she kissed the vein in his neck, his barriers shattered. "Sarah." "Horseplay." "Touch me," she urged. His palms claimed her hips, narrow and yielding. She was flame and satin, all heat forsaken. As she settled astride him, skirt hiking over thighs, Tom's restraint evaporated. Their kiss savored whiskey and want. Sarah's hands knotted in his graying hair, urging deeper. She rocked with fervor, matching his, decades of isolation melting into hunger. Tom bore her to the bunk, revering her form with mouth and hands. Her gasps filled the timber walls, sweeter than any saloon tune. They joined with the zeal of the forsaken, chasing grace. Sarah surrendered wholly, and Tom Lord forgive him devoured it all, branding her till she shuddered, moaning his name like absolution. After, she nestled on his chest, mapping old wounds. "I could linger here eternally. You merit more than a worn-out ex-marshal. You're unbreakable." Her hazel eyes blazed. For 9 idyllic days, Tom almost bought it. Then Sarah slipped up, leaving her valise open while feeding the mounts. Tom wasn't one to snoop, but 19 kills preach caution over courtesy. Buried undergarments and bullets, a portrait of a dashing border bandit with Sarah's identical defiant chin. Ramon Valdez. Tom's gut iced over. For years prior near Tucson, Ramon had hit every stage line in the county. When Tom cornered him, the kid was quick but not quicker. Sarah was Ramon's kin. She returned, flakes in her tresses. Tom held the image. Her color drained, then steeled. "You figured it." "Yeah." His tone flatlined. "How long till you pull the trigger?" Sarah barred the door against the squall. "I'm into that first night." "What held you?" Tears brimmed. "You. Treated me like treasure, not threat. Holding me like I'd vanish." She advanced, palms up. "Tom, this between yous, it's genuine. I love you." "Love." Tom's chuckle cut bitter. "You barely know me. I know you nursed a frozen stranger. You're kinda lame stock. Recite verses by lantern. You make me feel secure like never before." Her voice cracked. "Killing you would have gutted me." Before retort, steeds pounded the clearing. 7 gunslingers encircled, weapons cocked. Diego Ramirez's bellow sliced the gale. "Sarah, send out the bastard who dropped our Ramon, or we torch you inside." Tom snatched his rifle. "Seems your clan tracked us." Sarah clutched his bicep. "The no-kin now you are." Diego Ramirez, Ramon's uncle, had dogged them across 250 miles of Montana freeze, fueled by vendetta and blood oaths. Tom knew the wrath crossed him in New Mexico, wrestling with the nephew. 20 seconds, Sarah. Diego barked from adrift. Then lead flies. Tom loaded. Sarah 2, her ease with the peace-telling. 7 against 2, but the hut gave solid cover, tight angles. They'll execute you if I yield, Sarah hissed. Us both regardless. Diego don't pardon. How'd you know him? Tangled in Arizona he and Ramon hit payrolls. Sarah's features hardened. Ramon wasn't thieving when you shot him. You wasted an innocent defending his spread. The accusation slammed like a slug. Wells Fargo swore Ramon was a robber, with proofs and testimonies. But Sarah's glare seeded doubt maybe he'd been duped, a pawn in a land grab. Sarah, Diego edged nearer. Your Yankee killer plugged Ramon, called in the back. Coward's way. Liar. Tom snarled, uncertainty creeping. Was it? The showdown blurred Ramon pivoting, Tom blasting on reflex. Gun for draw or surrender. Glass exploded. Tom countered, dropping a rider into white. Sarah flanked the rear pane. 3 gone. More volleys riddled walls. Boots thudded overhead chimney breach. Tom yanked his scattergun, blasting upward. A corpse tumbled into coals, sparks flying. Sarah, Diego desperate. He's exploiting you. Tom Harlan slays for coined cares zilch. Cared enough to spare me more than you. Sarah retorted, peppering shadows. Tom shifted to aid, but agony ripped his arm. Diego's round struck true. Blood-drenched flannel, limb deadened. Sarah spied him reel. Tom, keep firing. He swapped hands. For charged, Sarah felled 2, but 1 breached the portal. Tom's buckshot hurled him airborne. Diego loomed at the breach, peacemaker leveled. Should have stayed retired law dog. Boom impact hammered Tom's torso, slamming him back. Legs buckled. He slumped, crimson frothing as lungs labored. Sarah's wail tore raw fury. She whirled, levering rounds into Diego till he crumpled, then emptied the chamber, weeping. Tom, whispered Rasp. She knelt in his pooling blood. Don't you quit not now, I've got you. Tom grinned faint. Reckon we're square. Ow, your brother I recall. He grabbed his sombrero, not iron. I down a clean man. Vision faded. Sorry, Sarah. So sorry. She kissed his brow. I forgive. Ramon would too hated this cycle. For 7 weeks, Sarah mended Tom from the brink. She dressed gashes, spooned stew when he weakened, cradled him through delirium's naming slain foes. Gradually, vigor returned, but so did harsh truths. He was ancient, hazardous, fractured for a vibrant soul like Sarah, a curse. The dawn he stood unaided, Tom chose the toughest path. You got a ride on. Sarah Valdez departed Tom, Harlan's world on a morn when flakes fell gentle as sorrow. She pleaded, vowing age and repute meant naught, but Tom stood firm, heart splintering. You're 24. I'm pushing 60. What future's that? The one I crave. But Tom's resolve held it ruined enough to risk her. From the threshold, he watched her silhouette dwindle, her final wave met with his. He barricaded inside, 3 days hollow. 12 years roll by. Tom traded the herd for a spread near Missoula, the ex-marshal aiding folks with blighted crops and busted rigs. Night terrors eased. He slumbered sand sidearm. No wife, no loversome flames, sears so fierce, they eclipsed the rest. A spring canter stirred no alarm. Tom glanced from fence repairs to a rider alighting a bay mare. She strode with known elegance, 36 now, beauty honed by trials, hazel eyes wiser. Still know me, Tom? They wed that summer, building a life on the ranch skids, laughter, peace. Tom found redemption in her arms, Sarah closure in his. Love conquered vendettas, age ghosts. What do you think, should Tom have let Sarah stay from the start, or was pushing her away the right call? Share your take in the comments below. Do you side with forgiveness over revenge, or does blood demand blood? Let's hear your views.